Hello to all the good people over the internet. Today we have with us Gaurav Jain, founder of Funscholar Innovations. Without further wasting time, I would like to give him what he would like to say. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Shobana. Shobana, I have been an entrepreneur since 2015, but wanted to be an entrepreneur since 2010. And while I was in college, my friends named me Entrepreneur Gaurav. And probably because I always had ideas to do something different. And that entrepreneur कीड़ा जिसको बोलते हैं वो काफी टाइम से अंदर था. And once I finished my college in 2010, I joined my father's business. I joined my grandfather's business. I had done internship with IIT Kanpur for some time. And then finally, a lot of frustration in the work that I was doing. I finally landed with doing something on my own, which gave birth to Funscholar. And Funscholar was basically born out of my learning and my experiences in education. I have never been a good student. And when I say not being a good student means I have always been either failing in one of the subjects in school, and principal has been given promotion. So there was my principal, Miss S. Mukherjee, I remember, wherein the teachers used to go against me and used to say that लड़के को आगे मत भेजो, इससे कुछ नहीं होगा. And somehow that principal had that confidence, नहीं ये कर लेगा. And this thing just didn't stop until class 11, till class 12. So you have class 12 pre-boards, right? So I flunked in pre-boards also, right? And टीचर सर कि क्यों भेज रहे हो, मतलब इससे कुछ नहीं होना है. एंड स्टिल माय प्रिंसिपल सेड नहीं, I'll send him, it's okay, he'll manage. And what I got was 59% in total, or 59.5%, something like that, in class 12 boards. And I took up science. Okay, so I had the audacity to take up science while I was not good in education. And when I took up science, my parents were quite against that. Why are you doing it? No, you really don't like studying so much. Then why taking such a hell of a job in your head? I said I want to become a pilot in class 11 and 12. So that's the reason I took up science. I gave the entrance. I cleared my entrance. I probably failed in the medical, so I couldn't clear it much. I didn't take it forward. But yet I still wanted to pursue science. And I didn't get good score in my class 12. So I had no opportunity. I couldn't get into engineering college because my minimum cutoff for getting into engineering college is 60%. And I had 59.9%. And then
So just a couple
I
of
gave my yeah, but then see, I love that thing, that the fire inside me, that I have to engineering. I gave my physics paper for rechecking. कि मेरा number
okay.
office check करो. So yeah, and I got an incremental marks of 2 marks in physics, exactly 2 marks, which made my score dot 60%. That's the calculation it came out to be, which made me eligible to get into engineering college. I got into the engineering college. I finished my education from there. And while I was working for my grandfather around in 2014 or around, I was working in a cloth market. Basically, I used to deal in trading of uniforms. And that wasn't a very exciting job for me after finishing my engineering. So uh, I was just discussing with one of my friends, and we decided what to do next. I really don't know. I'm not really liking the way I'm working here. And he reminded me that you did some kind of robotics course in your engineering, in your last year of engineering. Why don't you use something of that? And I had done one of the robotics course in my engineering in 2010. I said, yeah, that's something I could figure it out. And I spoke to my wife about it, and yeah, she said, yeah, you should try doing it. And I explored some couple of options, what needs to be done, how do I start off, how do I find where to begin. I got no clue about it. And I listed down, say, about 6, 7 companies in Delhi, 1, 2 companies in Pune, and I'm all alone till now. I don't have finance backup, nothing. And I was just thinking how to start about it. And after listing down, I was working in my grandfather's office. So there's a one of my you can say business colleague, right? And his son was Mr. Akash Sethia, and he had often told me that whenever you start up a business, my son also wants to do something. I said, yeah, sure. And he had finished his MBA by then, Mr. Akash. I said, okay. And, it's just, what do you say, coincidence. I was working in my office and he had dropped by to drop some paper. And we usually didn't interact much. And he had dropped a paper on that day, and I asked him, "Do you want to start a business?" He said, "Yeah, sure, I can do something like that." I told him that I'm leaving to Delhi tomorrow, and he had just got married about, I believe, a week back or something. And I said, "I'm going to Delhi tomorrow. You want to come along? I'm starting a business. You can be a partner." I don't know him before that day. That's the first day I'm meeting him. And next day he said, "Yeah, okay, I'll come along." And we boarded the train until I didn't tell my wife about it. And the new partner is coming on board with us. And and then when I reached the station, I said to my wife, "Okay, there's a new partner, Mr. Akash. He's going to joining us. And probably he's my partner to the company." And my wife's asking me that, "You don't know him, you haven't met him. How can you call him as a partner?" I said, "I don't know. It's just a gut feeling which came from inside that this will work." Okay. I went to Delhi. I searched for a couple of companies. I understood what actually the market is. So what robotics was there in 2010 was primarily for engineering colleges and for after engineering colleges only. And there are very limited option for schools and school education. So I had a need that I never understood science. I never understood anything in school because it was more of a less, I'll say, theoretical. There was nothing practical. I couldn't apply anything that I learned. So I had always a complaint that why am I reading this? Why am I reading calculus? Why am I reading this? I got no reason that I'm going to apply this in my future. So why am I spending time on something that I'm going to not be applying this any of my thing in the future? And so I thought, like, let's pick up robotics, let's pick up something with hands-on experience and mix it with the real life education. So I started picking up topics from physics. I started picking up topics from science and math, and started creating models. And I started talking to companies in Delhi. Then how can they help me to build models or content for the same reason? So things didn't work out, and then finally I landed up with a company in Pune, and we started developing kits together and how things has to be moving on. And in Calcutta, like people were completely against it. That Calcutta is not the market for this. Like it usually Bangalore, Chennai, Mumbai were considered a little up forward market to adapt these new technologies, and Calcutta was a little back forwarded for that kind of a thing. While I'm talking about 2015, that no school had such kind of a thing. I said it's okay. Let me start over it. And me and my partner, we didn't have money, and we didn't want to pressurize our family for the same thing. So we thought like we have to arrange something. So for something we arranged about 2 lakh rupees each from our family and friends, and then we started off this company for initial stockings and kit
So
and content
that's
and
a seed
development.
fund.
Yeah, kind of a seed fund, you can say, right? But then I had a condition that I'm going to return these 2 lakhs within 1 month to whom I have taken it, because there was some what do you say? You can say a ego block in my head that no, I do not want money from anyone. I want to start something from my own pocket. I didn't have money till then, and I took the money. I started it off, and something great happened that there was a school which something is called DPS Howrah in the Delhi Public School
Mhm.
Howrah, and the principal of that particular school is Miss Sunita Arora ma'am. Beautiful gem of a person. And usually these big schools, big names do not give a chance to newcomers, right?
Mm.
But we went to that school, we took an appointment, and the principal greeted us like that we were passed out from the college. They considered like a passed out students and like sons, and they listened to the entire thing. And you would not believe, we met her probably, I'm giving a fair around like second or third, and she called us back on the fifth, and she said that you can give a demonstration to the school, and whoever enrolls it, you can get it done. We gave our first demonstration to about 200 odd students. And out of 200 odd students, I exactly remember 120, 125 students enrolled back to us for
Wow,
robotics in the first session. That was first school that we did, and that was the number that we closed on to.
that was a
And
huge success.
yeah, first success. You can say that that's a beginner's luck that you can call it us. And now we don't have money. We don't have the kits. We don't have the much of the thing that is developed. So right. So we brought our wives in. Akash brought his wife. I got my wife, and we somehow managed one person, who can work as an intern with us. And we all five went in a car together to start training these schools. And we never had this teaching experience before. We never got into teaching experience before. Neither our wives got an experience to get into teaching field before. So we managed to do some group sessions together, teach each other, do board lessons, how to
Practice.
shout, how to yeah. So these things were
How to
not there.
shout.
But how to shout, yeah, I mean, because you're talking to 100 students at one go, right? And you're just what, four of us. So 25 students on each that has to be entertained together. So we
Huge
started
task.
doing that, and yeah, very tough. And within quick span of time, say, I'll say we started covering more number of schools like South City and other DPS groups and Birla groups started coming and pouring in, because such sort of a thing which would relate real life education with futuristic education was in a very, what do you say, uh, not in ample amount available around. And robotic was something that people was very popular about. And our robotics was not using Lego. So for the people who are much aware of Lego, so Lego is an American company, which produces plastic parts and a brain along with it, and you can program it the way you want it to be. But those Lego kits used to cost around that time around 35,000 each kit, which was not affordable to everyone. So this is again a challenge that brought to us, that how do I bring in the concept that everyone can have their own kit, everyone can work on their own kit, and also promote robotics, and they can take something back home. मतलब सिर्फ स्कूल में पढ़ के भूलना नहीं है ना, मतलब आपको घर में कुछ करना है, then how do you do it? And so we brought everything which is available at home at local market, and we built a kit around it, and we brought down the kit cost to, I guess, I believe 1,500 rupees during that time.
Wow.
And yes, and those kits were given to every single child, so that they can work on their own kit, they can take it back, they can work back home and do everything they want. So it had the electronic circuits, it had the programming languages, everything within that 1,500 rupees. We managed to do that. And that thing really picked up. So we were non-Lego brand in the city. So later there were
Indian
Lego
Lego.
brands coming in. Exactly, not Indian Lego. See, we work on Jugaad, and usually when we were kid, we have a habit of opening things up,
Yep.
opening electronic items, opening anything that we want to, right?
Car
So we had
parts.
this habit. हाँ, तोड़ फोड़ के निकालने का. And probably I got this thing from my father, right? So he always had taught me how to break things and how to be inquisitive, to see what's inside. So I share a short story with you. So what happened when I was, I guess in class 6 or 7. So there used to be a sharpener, okay? So you can just put in the sharpener and you can just churn it around and it gets sharpened. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It was in my time. So they used a small sharpener. It was kind of a big sharpener. So you have to just insert it. So, he asked me, that let's fix this sharpener. It's not working. I said, okay. So he said, do one thing, get me a screwdriver, let's open it everything. So he opened one by one all the parts, and then he laid it out completely. He cleaned it with Dettol and everything and sanitized it. And he said, Gaurav, do one thing, get me a big cloth. I said, why? What happened? Get me, I want to do something. Okay. Then he put everything in that cloth, wrapped it around, and said, throw it in the dustbin. I said, what happened? He said, I forgot to join it back. How it has to be done. but, but that lesson taught me that you can be inquisitive about something, and also learn that what exactly these things are inside and how these things work, right? You may not be always successful in building these products back to normal, or you cannot excel in developing the product, but the journey of developing this product is something. So we started developing innovation labs, or it's also called the reverse engineering labs that we created, wherein we used to take things from kabadwala, like juicer machines, hand mixer, televisions, everything which is rubbish, right? And we asked children to open it in front of the school, use the tools to open it, and see how things are inside, and be inquisitive about the parts what are available inside and how these things work, and what is the role of each part, and learn from that ways and see how you can apply these things. So this was a very new model that we came up with, and the schools really like about it. Very soon we were invited by Niti Aayog, the central government, and we were chosen like about the top 16 companies in the country for robotics to set up these labs pan India. So luckily, government came up with a program called Atal Tinkering Lab under Atal Innovation Mission, wherein they had aimed to set up 10,000 innovation labs, also known as Atal Tinkering Labs, for schools pan India. So
Across the
this is
country.
what. Yes, and this was a challenge that they had given to us, and 16 companies and 10,000 schools is a very huge target to pitch in. And when we started doing it, we weren't very big that time. We were probably doing a turnover of about say 20 odd lakh rupees. I'm talking in 2016. And
Just 1 year into the business and you're already making 20 lakh, 25 lakh.
yeah, so I was profitable from day one. So the first year we probably did about 9 or 10 odd lakh rupees. The second year we did about 20 odd lakh rupees. So we doubled during the second year. But then it was profitable from day one.
So you just you sat and thought about, okay, how can we make this profitable with pen and paper with all the founders? Like you have co-founders with you yourself, right?
I have just one co-founder, as I mentioned, Mr. Akash Setia, and
Okay,
he's the
and
only
you.
co-founder. Yeah, that's all, and no one else that we have. And we have always thought about building a profitable business, belonging to a Marwadi society or say business society.
Ah,
Uh, we haven't got a knowledge of how valuation works or how these companies building large scale valuation company, how those works. So we always knew how to build a profitable business. पैसा कैसा कमाना है वो हम जानते
धंधा
थे,
धंधा.
and how to save money is something that we knew, that we can save penny wise and then we can earn money. So we were working on low margins, but we were profitable. We weren't making loss making. And while we were doing it, during this process, we had to establish these centers pan India, right? So how do we do it? So we did a couple of schools initially. By we traveled around and we did it. Soon we realized that it's not a two-man's task. It needs a huge workforce. It needs a huge team that needs to be placed probably in every state to execute it. So we started building partners, and we created partners for state. And choosing these partners was another journey, because we were looking for people who are not in the field of robotics. They've got no idea what robotics is. They've got no idea about how these things work. They've got no idea how these things has to be taught. Exactly what they're in scenario like us. So they are probably college pass outs, or they have just started their own business, or they failed in their own business and they want to do something. And I googled all these people. I found on Facebook, I found on LinkedIn, I found on some of the other links that they have an electronic shop, or they have a small electronic shop, or the father has an electronic shop and the father is sitting and the son is sitting along with the father. So I found those peoples across the country and I started calling them that do you want to work with me, and I'm looking for such partners. And my age bracket was 25 to 30. That was the age bracket I was looking for students, or 25 to 35. And I started looking for people in Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, uh, Assam, northeastern India, and Jammu Kashmir, Delhi, Gujarat. So probably in 6 months or time, we had about 22 odd partners in Pan India, and those people started working really hard, because it was just not about me anymore. Because they started hiring people, everyone started hiring people under them. They had a workforce of about 5 or 10 people under them. They started creating employment, and within no time, these 20 people had approx 5 or 6 people on each. 120 workforce force was created within 6 months of time, and we started closing schools. And within 2 or 3 years, like 2019, if I remember correctly, we had closed close to 2,000 schools in
Wow.
3 years. Yeah.
Across the country.
And these schools, yes, the schools, labs were set up, the trainings were done, and no teachers were trained, the students were trained, and these entire mission was taking a turn by itself. And we still had to grow further. By 2020, we did about 2,500 odd schools. By 2021, we finished 3,000 odd schools, and we were growing on a usual pace. And we saw that this mission was no longer our mission. It started creating companies, it started creating awareness about robotics. And we saw a huge change in education after that. Hands on experience, learning experiences. Byju's came in, and there's a lot of disruptions started coming in the years. And then we realized what all we missed in education and how we can fill in gaps. And now we are in a state wherein we have started training from class 4 onwards, and children are learning robotics, science based concepts, aero modeling, drones, AI, machine learning. And I can say with confidence that my class 7 or 8 student probably knows more than engineering student. And they know programming, they know C, they know C++, they know Python, they know electronic circuits, they know soldering, they know how to do PCB designing. They can build a prototype by themselves. They can
What
demonstrate. They can.
when I met you the last time at Innovators Over Coffee, I met you for the first time for the coffee, and you were like, you this is the same thing you said. Class 7, 8 students knows more than an engineering college student or dropout. Maybe that's kind of a contradictory thing.
Yeah, because I can say with complete confidence, because when we hire students from college, when we go for hiring, we see students how things are working around and what kind of knowledge base they have. So basics are also not clear there, and I do not blame them for this, because even I have gone through the same thing. I also did my engineering, and probably I had this equal amount or lesser amount of knowledge when I had passed out. But I learned during the process. I learned when I started the company. I learned when I started had to deliver the product. And this is what I wanted to have children to have it during their own time, so that they can have an option to choose their career path way before they had to decide they have to take class 10 in science या लेना है commerce लेना है. These are not the only two options remaining. Probably in due course of time, within 2 or 3 years, students will not even go for colleges, because so much of content is available online that everyone
That's
can
that's
do.
one of my that's one of my favorite lines. I say the YouTube is honestly the open university. You just
Exactly.
you just go ahead and learn anything you can think of. There are like 10, 12, 13 hours of digital marketing courses. Like what do you want? You just need a data pack. Stop watching funny cat videos and Tom and Jerry, and then just you can just go ahead and learn. We all do that.
Exactly. So, things have changed, and our kids, or the generation after that, they probably do not require the same monotonous type of learning. They do not require it, because honestly, Shobhan, what we both are learning, what we both learn, we are not applying one single thing, and we
It's a
wasted
complete
10
waste
plus.
of. Exactly. That's what I say every time. We just wasted 15, 16, 20 years of our life going to schools and colleges without actually learning any factual data that can be applied in the near future or in our entire life, probably. Addition,
Exactly.
multiplication, and subtraction is the only thing that requires. आलू खरीदने के लिए सिर्फ addition and multiplication requires. कोई calculus या फिर Pythagoras theorem नहीं use नहीं होता वहाँ पे.
Correct. So I'm not saying those things are wrong or those things are not required, but I'm saying that every child has its own mindset. They have
Yep.
their own intellectual level. They have their own interest. So you cannot try and mold everyone into the same shape. That is not
Exactly.
possible.
You have to have
The result
separate
is
arenas for everything.
correct. The result is gonna be fatal, right? No, if you try to mold me to probably become a mathematician, I would be a horrible one. But if you just train me to be a jugadu aadmi who can just open things up and learn and experience by doing it, I'll probably do better. So every child has its own interest, and you should have given them option to do something different,
Yep.
right? So I'll just give you another quick example of one of the things that really happened in recent time. So there's one of my students from one of the school, and he's been doing it robotics in class 6, I believe. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 years he did robotics with me, and after that we are not in touch. And COVID happened, and all those things happened, and after that I didn't got in touch with him. So recently, say about 2 weeks or 3 weeks back, he called me, sir. My name is this, and I'm from this school, and I want to meet you. I said okay. He came down to my office and he's saying, "Sir, I have finished my class 12, but I'm dropping out of college right now. I'm not going to college, though I have options of going to US universities, but I'm dropping out right now." I said, "Why?" He said, "Sir, I was got so inspired by you while I was learning robotics and IoT. I'm starting my own company, and the
Oh,
company is based on machine learning and AI. And he found co-founders. He's found his tech founder. He's got the funds accumulated. He's got the problem to be solved, and now he's building his own company. And probably, I'm not saying this. He's going to become a leader into the field, but he's doing what he loves doing it, and he's probably going to learn more than us going to college.
yeah,
So
for sure.
I I very strongly feel that yes, college is important. It has its own advantages and disadvantages, but then the method of teaching or the kind of learning or the end result or the end product is not industry ready, and we're not producing good quality students or good quality labor forces. So any engineering student that passes out, be it mechanical or chemical or electronics or computer science, are probably going to be only two companies, TCS and Infosys. That is 70% work for the in TCS, Infosys, and Wipro. So apart from these companies, they are the major hirers, right? And they train the student again from the scratch. They spend 6 months to a year to train the students to become fit for their own company.
So why did you learn all of that wasting 3 years?
4 years, not three. Engineering was
Okay.
4 years.
Okay.
So 4 years you did something and you're still not industry ready. And after again you're spending 1 year to learn engineering, learn the concept of their company, and then you are fit for their own company. So practically
And
it
then
took
if you
five
again shift from that company, you have to learn again.
again lost. So a learning system requires a huge change,
Yep.
and we are trying to bring that change. And this has been our motive, that that education requires huge disruption, and many more to come.
And that's like brings me to the like kind of the next question. Like, talk us through education system in India, because come on, let's consider. We all see videos on YouTube talking about education system. Yeah, hey, people read 10,000 books and then mug up lines from there without actually doing anything in their life, and they just come and pretend that, oh, I am the lord of something. I have built this. I'm not like, in this world of social media, everyone is an entrepreneur. To be honest, right? But very few like you and us are entrepreneurs who actually do something, like at the very smallest level, at the very biggest level, whatever it is. But actually, they're doing something. So again, to the question, take us through what is the education system in India actually, and how it is changing.
Okay, so there are two parts to it. How the education system in India, I would still say that it is still following 50 years old or 100 years old concept, right? There has been practically zero change in the education system or the way we have been learning or the content that we have been learning,
Yep.
right? And we are being trained to excel in classroom, be competitive, be prepared for certain streams like engineering or doctor or lawyer or IAS or UPSC. These are the only fields that were given as an option in front of us when we were in school. So our friends used to fight, be competitive for JE exams, or for NET right now, for becoming a doctor, and they struggle in the schools, and they used to start going for tuitions in class 10, 11, 12, and a huge amount of pressure has been put onto them so they can become engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or a UPSC or an IAS officer. There's no other options field open, right? So you're not being trained to do that. Most of the school students or school friends are either introvert, or they're not well spoken, and they're not ready for any of the markets. It can be an
Yep.
influencer market, it
Exactly.
can be a content writer, it can be a website designer, it can be a creative artist, it can be anything. The field is wide open, right? It can be machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science. So many fields just gotten opened up. None of these fields have been spoken about or talked about because they're still considered taboo, right? You might not get success in these fields. Then what do, right? So ultimately you get demotivated and you follow the same path what everyone is doing. It's kind of a herd following. एक जन कर रहा है, सब जन वही कर रहे हैं. But then end result is gonna be that you might be good at engineering, I'm not. But just following you, probably I'll not become a good engineer, and I'll probably land up in a just an average software company writing codes in 9 to 5 and again come back to home. So entire experience of learning, entire education system gives you knowledge and only awareness for these particular fields only. Now with the revolution coming in, with the YouTube coming in, content being available online, you get so much of opportunity to learn outside the box. And
And the biggest thing
the
is it's
training
for
is also
free.
not at your home.
99% is of free, honestly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll say 100% of them it's free. Well,
Yep.
most of the content is available for you to consume. It's free, right? And that is more than enough for you to learn. And there is no age barrier that you can only learn engineering after you finish your class 12. You can do engineering class 6. You can learn more about influencing marketing class 7. You can learn about building a website class 5. Yes, I am very serious. I'm building apps in schools from class 6 students. Class 6 students are building apps.
Yep.
So I'm not teaching them. Google is teaching them.
because he can learn better from Google than he can learn from me. Why do I dictate a path that this is A, this is B, and this is C? He can learn and unlearn all by himself, and this
Yep.
is what he's going to do. You have to
And,
give them
and
opportunity, just go to the market
and the fun thing is they
and
have
learn.
a brain. Let them apply. They have a brain.
Absolutely correct. So आपको अगर चांस दिया जा रहा है खुद से करने का, and you can develop by your own, it might be not be the best product in the market, but then it gives you the confidence that if you can develop this, you can develop better.
Yep.
And that confidence has only been driven by, I'll say, by YouTube, by these all these online content providers, people like you who are creating influencing market, and who are giving confidence. I'm serious. People like you give confidence to others, saying that if I can do it, even you can do it too. And there is just not engineering or mathematics or IS offices the end of the life. You can still earn more, have a better life balance, I'll say. Work and your life and your health. You can maintain a balance of life while not being in engineering or doctor or lawyer or an IS officer. So education system definitely needs to reform, and people and especially parents need to stop pressing students that you have to go only for these two fields. Let them be. Just let them be whatever they want to. They can be an athlete. There's this everything is open, and a child will find its own way within 5 years of his life, and he would do better than everyone else. He will excel in that. He'll probably fail a couple of times, but then he'll excel at the end of the day. So I'll still say that online learning is the best learning. You can learn more, you can learn better, and you can learn the exact content that you want to. I was just reading an article in the morning where it says, there's an MBA college that just started up. There's an online college which lets you choose which topics you want to learn from an MBA course. It's not a predefined course. आपको marketing ही
Ah,
करना है, आपको HR भी सीखना है, आपको थोड़ा administration भी सीखना है, आपको management भी सीखना है, आपको finance भी सीखना है.
so it's
So
a
you can
healthy
choose a
diet.
so you can choose the topic that you want to learn, and the topic, and you can remove the topic that you already know, and you can create your own course, and then you should learn. Then it is the value of your time and your money that you're putting inside. That brings the real education out of a person.
Fantastic. Oh my god. The first time I met you, I was really thinking of Funscholar Innovations, and then I came back home and then I like searched the entire internet. Funscholar क्या करता है मेरे को देखना है. I really want to get in touch with the founder. I really, and here we are, of course, reaching at Sunday morning. So when did so we were talking about the how you like clocked 10 crore in revenues probably in the financial year 2021 if I'm not wrong. Take us through that. What happened there?
Yeah, so we did that. Well, there's nothing to boast about it because it's just a part of life wherein we were doing business, and we were doing ethical business, and we had a reputation of our customer. We had probably 95% retention rate from our clients. So our
Oh.
first client made 2015, 16 is still our client, and the trust and the referral from the school principals, from the students, they probably supported us in the entire journey. And moreover, that these channel partners that we create across, they also really helped us during this entire process to reach where we are today.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So, for the first time, did you have the fear of failing as an edtech? So, you're not only an edtech startup, you're like both online and offline, right? So, how did this idea came that okay, online can also be a part with the offline? Because as I was reading an article, or I was seeing actually I was seeing a podcast where Kunal was saying that just adding tech to a product or a service doesn't make it delta four, as this theory he has a delta four theory. So, yeah. So, what are your thoughts on this one?
uh, Adding tech is probably a cool word right now, right? uh, we add tech to everything: fintech, edtech, medtech, biotech, everything is tech
Agrotech.
right now. Yeah, so yeah, technically tech is something to grab attention, and something which we say that you know I do not know exactly if I'm in edtech or not. What I exactly did is I just made education learning simpler. I just try to put things in the way I could learn in school if this would have been taught to me. I just try to bring in those materials if that was shown to me or that were given into our hand, my concepts would have been better. And that's why we created models wherein we could demonstrate students that this is how a principle works, this is how the law of Newton works, this is how engine combustion works. So we brought models across and we taught them that this is the way wherein if you see something happening in front of your eye, you probably know how things work and you don't have to remember the exact formula, logics, principles, everything, and it just happens. And we still not a very online model. We never got into an online model. Even during the COVID, we were an offline model only. We used to send kids to the students and we used to teach them over the content online, but we still prefer that it is more hands-on with the teacher experiencing there, because every student who's working with our kids is coming with their own innovative ideas. They are coming with their own mindset of developing something different out of that box, right? And they just need assistance from us, right? And when you're in online model, you are learning better. I'm not saying you're not learning better because you have a wide field to choose your course from. But then yes, offline education is also important. Hands-on is also important. The feel of the product is important, and teacher to student communication is also important. That's why I'll say, there has to be a balance between both.
Fantastic. Okay, so one important question I have, like you've been an entrepreneur since like 2015, so it's like nearly 7 years.
Almost, yeah.
Okay, what advice would you like to give to aspiring entrepreneurs and creators and innovators in every field possible? Like, is there a scope, or maybe how many fields are dying in the near future?
Okay. Uh, the advice that I would like to give to all the upcoming entrepreneurs is to don't be shy taking risks. Uh, if you have an idea, if you're confident that this product has its potential and you're not able to do it because of some, uh, you know, family pressure or society responses, how they're gonna think and how you're gonna manage. Because of those pressures, do not stop yourself. Try it out early. There is a high chances that your product might be successful, but if you do not try, it will never be successful. And that regret will always remain inside you, that I wish I could have tried this. I had this idea in my mind, but I couldn't try it. And in probably in some due course of time, you will find someone else doing it and executing it. And you would be discussing it with your friend. I had this idea. But then thinking that you had this idea doesn't really give you, any credit. Execution of that idea gives you the credit. And uh, there will be financial barriers, there will be economical barriers that are going to come in your way, but you just have to keep your cost optimized and try it out at the lowest cost possible. Try proof of concept. And currently there are so many government startups and so many incubation centers that has given opportunities to thousands of startups to execute their idea, to at least create a proof of concept. So we should utilize that opportunity to just develop our own product, our own idea, and at least pitch it to various these centers, to these angel investors, and create a proof of concept and get the things rolling. Do not hold back your emotions and regret it later. This is one advice I'll give it to all the upcoming entrepreneurs. The second thing, what I really want, entrepreneurs to start digging in is into edtech, because there's still a huge amount of potential which is still needs to be untapped. Right? Education system is still almost the same way. Right? There are assistants that is helping the students to learn better, but a lot can be more done, a lot more redesigning, rethinking, or reforming the entire education systems can be done. And in due course of time, we might see games coming up for educations, we might see VR coming up, we might see AR coming up, we also might see designing your own course in schools and colleges. There can be anything which
And
can
kind
come
of
up.
it's already
And
happening.
few of them is happening, but then still India is a huge country, and there's always a potential to do more. And then uh, you need to keep trying, right? It's not that these things are developed, so that's the end of the world. So there's always a scope for more that you can learn and put it into the education and develop more. And the second thing, which I personally think there are definitely many more than that, but health is something what I really look forward for. Technology reformation in health, right? Uh, get, getting the best treatment at the lowest cost possible to the corner part of the India is very difficult. And the kind of tools that we use, the kind of technology that we use, the data storage in the entire thing, data collections, the learning from the data, the gene paramedics. There's a lot of things that has to be done under health and biotech segment, which can really create a disruption in an industry. So, entrepreneurs can also try that also. This is something which comes into my mind. Yeah.
Fantastic. I'll name this episode Sunday Talks. Sunday Talks hashtag / inspirations.
No,
By the
nothing
way,
like that.
is the word laziness a friend of an entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur? No.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So, laziness comes from within, and laziness only comes when you do not have a goal in your head, or when you do not have a target in your head. That's when you get laziness into, right? So, for example, if you have usually students and college students, they start preparing 2 days before the exam or 1 day before the exam, right? And they still manage to complete the course, they still manage to execute, they still manage to pass, or they still manage to score good, right? So they have the target in their head. Then laziness is not even in the picture. They don't even talk about laziness. Then they are probably working on steroids. They're working probably 24 hours a day, and they finish the thing because there's a deadline in their head. There's a goal in their head that they need to finish this, they need to score, and they need to finish, right? So even in entrepreneurship, when you have certain goals, when you have certain targets, when you want to achieve something, when you want to reach somewhere, laziness automatically goes out of your head because that inspiration is coming from inside. Your brain is working twice, 3x, 4x times to think ways possible to achieve that particular target. And when you do not have a goal in your head, that is something when laziness comes into the picture.
What about like, is this okay? So basically, this is a question: is this a myth or a reality that you need a lot of money to do a startup or create a company at the very basic and primal level, or do you need investors at the very first to, at the very ideation
I
stage?
didn't get your question, sir.
Yeah. So
I didn't get
basically,
your question, sorry.
is this a myth or a reality that you need a lot of money to create something, innovate, or maybe create a startup, have a company, or maybe go to angel investors and venture capitalists and then pitch to them that this is my idea at the very ideation stage? We do a seed round over here. So, what's your thoughts on this?
I don't believe uh, in this concept. And I will not even call it myth because for some people, this is something which has worked for them, right? So it depends from perspective to perspective. My perspective is if you have a confidence in your product and if you can develop it, if you can show that the product works, if you can show the product sells,
Does a
then
product
you should
market
go to a
fit?
venture capitalist. Is it a product market fit? Because taking money from someone is taking a liability from someone,
Yeah, exactly.
right? You're playing with someone else's money, right? So you have a liability on your head. You can't just play around with someone's money, right? You are answerable to them. So unless until you are sure about your own product, how can you convince someone else to believe in you once you're not ready with your own product? Once you're not sure about your own product, right? So it's not important, it's not necessary, and it is. I have not seen this case on a everyday basis that you need a tons of money to create proof of concept. No, for, I'm not saying about the end product. Yes, end product do require a lot of funds, but then
It's the MVP.
conceptualization of this entire product, right? MVP that does not require a lot of funds. And once you can do that, once you can take your customer feedback about that particular proof of concept, then you can go to any angel investor or seed fund to invest in a big format that this product works. I've tested it. I've taken the survey. This product will sell, and this is the market report, and this is the product in front of the table. Now you can ask for money. Now you're sure about the product.
Exactly.
And creating that does not require a tons of money or a huge investment.
For sure.
And that's probably the reason that we still haven't approached any VC or angel investors or seed
I was
funds
coming
till
in the
date.
next question. Like, it's Funscholar Innovations Pvt Ltd. It's still a bootstrapped company, profitable bootstrap company.
Yes, it is. Yes, completely. It's 100% bootstrapped, not even a single co-owner from outside. We began with two owners. We are still two owners of the company, and we still believe in the same concept. And we still aim to uh, remain on this path till the time it goes beyond our hand, that we are not able to fund it, right? And see, we are confident about the product that we do, and we are profitable from day one. And we are not burning money for the sake of the development of our company. We do invest in research and development. We do invest in our HR. We do invest in other creatives that we do it. But we stay away from these funds as of now, because we still feel that we can save every penny. We can put our own money back and build the company to a greater height. And it's working well for us, honestly. We probably don't take salaries for say 5 months, 6 months, or sometimes for a year. We manage on say about 10,000 rupees a month, and that is only our transportation expenses and probably a little bit food expenses. And that's how we manage for last from 2 to 3 years, 16 to 19 probably. We started taking salaries from 2020, 2021. During the COVID, we started taking salaries. But then before that, we never used to take more than 10,000 rupees a month. And we started putting every penny back into the company, and that used to grow.
Reinvesting.
And yes, we believed in two things. One, pay your people on first or before first. Don't delay it. And second thing is, pay your vendors before they even ask for it, or pay your vendors in advance.
That creates a
We
very
followed
healthy
these two
relationship.
rules. Yeah, so that belief, that confidence that they have in us has taken us to greater heights. Now, even we work in operations or not, we don't have to think twice if we can scale this or not, because I know my vendors are my back support. They can support me to X amount. It can be 1 CR, 2 CR, 3 CR, whatsoever amount it is, and they're not going to question my integrity on it, because they know that the payment is going to flow. Because I am much more cautious about their funds than about taking my own payment. I believe that their money should go first. My staff, my people should have their money first. उसके बाद अगर बचा तो मैं, उसके बाद बचा तो मैं, वरना नहीं बचा तो भी कोई बात. But they needs to be all cleared. So we are zero debt in terms of vendor payments, in terms of investors, in terms of seed funds, everything. So we follow that particular ethics in our company, and we try to preach that to my employees also, who are planning to start up their own company, that always follow these rules. So it's working for them as well.
What are the 3 platforms that entrepreneurs should follow for knowledge, experience, and understanding of businesses and entrepreneurship and innovation as well?
When you say platform, is it anything specific that is something you are looking forward for? Like, what kind of platforms are you talking about? Like,
where people can get
in terms of
experience and
learning?
knowledge, experience in the field of business, entrepreneurship, and innovation.
I'll say experience is the only platform on this journey. There is no set pattern wherein you can learn, right? So every day when we go out in the market, when we are developing a new product, we need to unlearn our old platform that we learned from, the learn form that we had, the format that we did, and we have to create our own learning platforms that
probably whenever we used to go on e-commerce before, so probably this product requires e-commerce, so we had to learn e-commerce. Prior to this, we never had to get into government contracts, or we never had to do anything of approvals or patents. That those were not required, but for a particular product these things are required, so we had to unlearn the previous thing and again learn a new thing. So learning and these platforms is something, I'll not use the word platform, I'll say the learning comes with experience and also comes with the requirement of the product. How do you want to sell, or how you want to approach the product? And every product has its unique way of doing and executing things. So for being an influencer, your learning cannot be the same as mine, your marketing pattern cannot be same as mine, your product cannot be same as mine, and same applies for every different industry. What I am doing may not be fit for them, but their own journey to learn and to execute that X is something, is their own learning pattern. Definitely, and veteran in the same industry would really help and uh, multiply your growth faster. If you are into influencing market, and someone who is into influencer market can guide you better and help you avoid those necessary steps or the mistake that they committed, and you can learn from their own mistakes, from their mistakes, so that you do not need to reinvent the wheel. So in our system, we never reinvented the entire wheel, we just brought the parts together, and we created content into it. So everything, even the other day around, when we were attending that conference, when you're talking about content marketing and everyone was getting into the field, so every influencer has its own journey, and they do not have the same lines to follow, irrespective they are in the same fields. Their journey is very different, your journey is very different. Raj Shamani will also have a very different, its own journey of difference. Mr. Pandey will have its own journey. So everyone has its own journey to follow, and you learn during this journey, and that is the biggest learning of all times, and that cannot be compared to anything else.
I like that. I like that very much. What's the future of edtech in India or education in India?
India's future is very bright, not just in edtech, in probably all the fields right now. We've been hearing a lot of news across the country that India is going to be the top three countries within the next 5, 6 years, and that would be true. There's nothing to stop us, right? So that confidence from the startups and from the confidence from the youngsters is just boosting to another level. So it can be fintech, edtech, biotech, health tech, whatever tech you join, and next to it, India is going to excel into that, right? So edtech really plays a major role in this entire journey, because the future is in the hand of edtech. What we inspire, what we put the seeds now is going to turn into a tree, is going to turn into fruits in the later period of time. So how we train them at the earliest nascent stage, and what kind of inculcation or what kind of access to technology we give at the earliest stage is really going to play a huge difference at the outcome of that when they pass out of school or pass out from college. So that journey for edtech is really bright, because they have, I'll say, uh, they have a really great influence on the development of the country. उनकी बहुत जरूरत है उस चीज के लिए, because they are the seeds of the probably the future, and that they're going to nurture in future. Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Very inspiring things. What does your normal day look like as a founder?
So as a founder, probably it's not a very exciting routine. We do have daily routine that we have to do it. So probably my office starts at around 10, but then my day starts at around 6:37. So a little bit of jogging in the morning, doing some health exercises, then giving time to your family, and then going back to office. But the maximum time in my office, or probably the most important time in my office, I spend in the morning for half an hour once I reach. Uh, I just try to put down things that I want to achieve in the entire day. It can be the simplest of the thing and the complicated of the stuffs, right? The entire one page or two page, whatever I write on that paper, needs to be executed before I get up from the chair on that particular day. And that that putting every nerve into concentration to just think of every single work that needs to be done. It can be a signing of checks, it can be releasing of payments, it can be talking to any suppliers, it can be anything. And that helps me to channelize my energy entire day and finish my work before my time. And I try to finish my work around 5:36 and get back to my daughter and then spend time with her in the evening. That's how I'm doing it.
That's a very healthy routine you have there. 7, 6 hours of work and then just got it, right?
Yeah, and I try again. This is also something I try to inculcate in my staffs, in my colleagues, in schools, in my
Like don't
offices. That
overwork.
you should don't overwork. Don't overwork, don't underwork. Just finish your work, be loyal to your work, and be honest and leave early. I don't want you to stay till 7, 7:30, 8:30 in the office. You don't have to. Leave at 6, leave at 5:30. If you're done, leave at 4:30 also. I've got no problem. So maintain a balance of life. That's what I always say. Because I very strongly believe that health is something which is not going to turn back in time. And if you do not maintain your health and right now, it's not going to care for you in near future.
Yep. It's important. And the work amount we do as founding members and entrepreneurs are huge at the very first level. Just 16, 17 hours of sitting, building something, innovating, doing the R&D. We know what the struggle we went through, right?
Exactly. So I'll say here, you know, our wives really played a very major role, right? So they were for me and for my partner both, for both our wives, right? So they really acted as pillars during the initial nascent stage. We did had to spend a lot of hours learning, and not for our learning, they also had to learn because they were our trainers to school.
Oh,
They were looking after the house and they were learning with us. They were also going to schools and they were helping us in management of the entire process, right? So I don't remember that I was working for say 16, 17 hours in office, but yes, 16, 17 hours, the brain always used to think Funscholar, what next can be done. So execution hours were always 8 to 10 hours only. I have never put in 16, 17, 18 hours here. I'll be very honest, I haven't put that much amount of work, but yes, the brain always used to function. And I used to write it down what I need to do or what the idea is coming in and how do I need to execute it. And then I should execute in that particular timeline the next day. And this is how we did it, and it worked.
so basically, what works for you works for you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. That's what I said. No, everyone has its own learning. So you just can't compare to mine. I can't compare to yours. Your struggle would be very, very different to mine.
hmm,
So it worked for me. It's not sure that it'll work. It's gonna work for you also.
and that kind of projects why your name of your organization is Fun Scholar.
Might be, yes. Yeah. So we did come up with this name thinking a lot about it. How do we keep our name? So yeah, Fun Scholar. Yeah.
That's interesting. So when did you get your company registered? At the very first year or second year when you started making revenue and all of that?
So again, this is something also I probably learned from my father that I never wanted to work in cash or I never wanted to work off books. This is one lesson that I learned at a very early stage, that every penny that I earn should be taxable and the money that I receive after taxes should be, it's completely my money and I can sleep without any headache at night. When I was earning 5 lakh rupees a year, then I also was paying the taxes. And my company was registered even before my company started functioning. So 2015, even my company didn't start, my company had been already founded by then. So my actual operations began in May or June, I believe, but then my company was founded in April. And till date, even today, I follow the same principles that uh, pay your taxes on time and whatever is there, then you can have a much more leisure life, headache free life. And I will also insist all the other entrepreneurs to also follow the same path. You know, pay your GSTs on time, pay your taxes on time, and you'll have a much easier life because you can actually focus on the right stuff rather than saving money or saving taxes.
And it,
I have
and
been putting more
honestly,
energy and effort on earning more than in saving taxes.
wow, I like that healthy. That's healthy enough. And like, of course, like if you don't pay taxes, how will a country grow? Think about that.
See, honestly, it's a very difficult thing to comment on, right? Because there are various factors into it, how the company is going to grow. But then I can talk about an individual self, right? Your growth, your future lies in your hand, right? And you cannot grow beyond a certain point if you have inculcated a habit of stealing from the government or saving your taxes using other means, right? It becomes an habit. It is all part of the habit, right? Once this becomes a part of your daily routine, that this is how it's gonna go and this is how the employees has been trained to do, you no longer have to think how things has to function. Automation comes in the process, and when automation comes into the process, your mind is much more channelized to focus on the right things, on the right ways. I know a lot of my friends who had the practice of saving taxes and doing a lot of other means, but the company didn't run for more than 2 to 3 years. Various reasons, but they didn't run. And the end run was they had to shut down the company because multiple factors happened and it wasn't successful because you lose trust.
Hmm.
The government loses trust, and your customers also lose trust because they're not fools. They understand what exactly you're doing,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
Everyone is a very sharp, everyone is an intelligent person right now. You can't fool around with them, right? So if you are trying to save taxes, if you're trying to fool around with them, it's gonna come around to you sooner or later. You can't be running for a very long time, right? So I tell this to all my employees, I tell it to all my co-workers or my friends that stop doing whatever you're doing, right? And just do it the right way. You might have to end up paying a little more taxes, but then
Be
at
ethical.
the end of the year, you're gonna sleep very peacefully. Yes, yes, that the chunk is yours, and no one's gonna question you. And whenever something happens, everything is clear on books. You can just show it whatever you and wherever you want to. So do this, pay taxes.
Honestly, like if we don't pay taxes, how will a nation or country like India grow? How will the GDP grow?
See, in India, only 1% of our the entire country is paying taxes. That's the statistics, right? And that's an honest statistics. The last 2021 statistics, or 1.5% of the entire population is paying
So
taxes.
15
Out of
crore people only
150
pay
crores,
taxes out of 150 crores.
1.3 crore people
One
pay taxes,
point.
not 15 crores.
Okay. So less than that.
Only 1.3 people, 1.3 crore people are only paying taxes in the entire country. I'm talking about income taxes, but then government have incomes from other various sources like GST and other indirect taxes, and that's how it functions.
Well, that's what I had all I had to ask to you. Like, you give so much inspiration to all of the entrepreneurs. For the viewers, I'm saying like this man doesn't need an introduction. I would leave all of the links for his entire portfolio of all of his works he has done. Beautiful stuff. Any closing thoughts you would like to give to everyone, including me, of course?
You're already doing a good job, yeah. The one thing what I learned later in my life or later in my entrepreneurship is networking. And believe it or not, the next future of business is gonna be dependent how you network.
Very
How
good point.
vast is your network? The better networking you do, the better contacts you have, the better relationships you have, the more friends you build in your business circle is gonna scale your growth to twice x, 3x, 4x, 10x. And if you just keep your idea to yourself, you try to be introvert, you try to be a closed box, you're not gonna run for a very long time. It is a game of networking. It is a game of a social circle. It is the game of how you expand your leads and how well people know you. So the future is gonna be that, and keep doing that, whatever you're doing. And anyway, you're doing the right thing, yes. So, so nothing special that I could add for you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, man. Thank you so much. Once again, thank you so much for joining and taking some time out to do this. It means a lot. I would love to have you once more whenever you just release an IPO of your company later down the line.
Again, IPO is not that right now in my mind. I'm just here to, find problems and the solution to those problems. IPO, becoming a unicorn is not something is there on my top of my head. Probably it was there when I started my business. It was a hep thing, get a company listed in stock exchange. But right now, I strongly believe be a profitable business, take money back home, not in your books, and solve real life problems around you. There are thousands of problems in India that needs to be, uh,
Addressed.
addressed to, put attention to, and entrepreneurs or the coming entrepreneurs, they are the future who can solve those problems. And when you're solving real life problems, money will follow. Every company need not be a unicorn, right? But every entrepreneur can solve a problem. So everyone starts solving a problem, the country would be a much better place than it is right.
Well, such an inspiring closing thought. Once more, I would like to
Thank you
thank
so
you from
much.
the bottom of my heart for joining in. And thank you for all of the viewers for watching this. Hope you take away something from this. Watch it 10,000 times, this podcast, and you'll definitely get some entrepreneur. You'll get an MB out of this one, I don't know.
No, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and keep building,
Okay.
keep innovating, change the entire education system. Once again, bye bye and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chopin.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.